people from different countries call us and said, well, what's going on? Are you being attacked? What's happening when you have 8 military Navy ships in your border? Of course, you can be attacked at any moment. And when you have Trump at the head of this imperialist government, of course, it could happen anytime. August 18, the US government made different announcements referred to Venezuela, important ones. The first is that they raise a reward that they have on Nicolas Maduro's head, which is the president of Venezuela, for $25 million for the capture. So it's like the old West movies when you put a bounty in the head of someone. So that's the first issue. That then that same week they stated officially that they created this new drug cartel that doesn't exist before. It's the first time that they talk about the cartel of soles drug cartel. And they said that Nicolas Maduro is the head of this new cartel. And they said that this cartel is the responsible for most of the fentanyl that is going at this moment into the United States. And the third issue that the U.S. government stated in that week is that they said that they authorized the U.S. military force to go against a series of different cartels in the region. They said the U.S. military is authorized in order to mobilize their forces against these drug cartels. So since that week, it was the point of the start of this new uh, phase of aggression against Venezuela. I think that, as you maybe could know, since the beginning of the Bolivarian Revolution in 1999, the United States has had different phases of aggression against Venezuela. We're always against Hugo Chavez. I think that maybe in order to mention some issues about that background of aggressions, in 2002 there was coup d'etat against Venezuelan government, against Hugo Chavez. After 10 years, it was like this thing that they call declassification of some files in the U.S. government intelligence, where they actually recognize that they have vinculations with the coup d'état, and that actually the U.S. embassy was knows about the coup d'état before it happened and was part of the meetings and the organization. Maybe one of the most important moments that like um, it's like a mark in the storyline of Venezuela was after 9/11, when the US start this campaign first in Afghanistan, this military campaign in Afghanistan. They were first in Afghanistan, and with the time they go to Iraq. But in the first round in Afghanistan, there was a series of bombs, and they were bombing civilian populations. So at that moment in 2001, Hugo Chavez stayed a public position against U.S. imperialist military policies. From that moment on, he denounced the U.S. as an imperialist government. That he showed the pictures of the kids dead by this bombing, and he said, "We are against terrorism, but this is not the way." And from that moment on, it was like a key point of the starting of an escalate of aggressions against Venezuela. After that, there were several attempts of coup d'etat supported by the United States, also promoted by the United States. But of course, the most important moment of this escalate started in 2015 publicly when the United States state this executive order where they classify Venezuela as an unusual threat to the national security states. From that key point, from this statement of Venezuela against imperialism, then there come the coup d'etat against Chavez, and then 2 years since that, it started a process where Venezuela makes like a public statement that we are a Bolivarian revolution against imperialism. So from that point, it started a series of different kind of escalate of aggressions. But maybe the most important one was, from this recent phase, it started in 2015 with a first executive order that declares the Venezuelan government as a unusual and extraordinary threat, I'm quoting, for the national security of the United States. So from that point, it starts a series of different executive orders that actually at this moment are something like 1,300 different executive orders from the United States against Venezuela. Most of them center in decreasing the national income. So they are about to forbid anyone to make any kind of business relation with Venezuelan government and also with some Venezuelan representatives. Also, it makes different, it forbids the possibility of the different financial institutions to make business with Venezuela. So from that moment, all the assets of Venezuela in different countries were frozen. I think that the most important one, one of the more recognized is like, for example, in the UK, Venezuela has this gold reserve about something like $900 million, and they were frozen those assets. Then you have the example of the oil industry of Venezuela have a special branch in the United States, which is called Citgo. Citgo has been also confiscated for the US government. And then you have different assets in different countries that have been frozen since that point. So basically, Venezuela is not able to sell anything, especially oil, to different countries because that country could be submitted to the so-called sanctions from the U.S. And also, Venezuela can buy any different kind of goods from any country because that country could be submitted to U.S. sanctions and also can make any transactions, financial transactions in the international system because those financial institutions could be submitted to the sanctions. So this is an important issue. I've mentioned it before, even in our forum, but it's like an important background because it basically demolished the national income in Venezuela. Officially, the government of Venezuela have stated that in 2019 and 2020, the national oil income was about 1% of what we had before the sanctions. Specifically, the number is in 2013, the national income was about 56 billions of dollars. the national income of Venezuela. And then in 2019 and 2020, the national income was just about 700 millions or 900 millions in those 2 years. So it's like 1% of the previous income that we had. So that's what defines a blockade against Venezuela, because it has made this siege state in order to guarantee and overthrow a change of regime in Venezuela, political change in Venezuela. That's the first issue. Then you have these different moments in the last 10 years, where in 2019, Venezuela, the US government make this attempt of establish a parallel government. They said, well, the person that was elected in the National Assembly in previous years now is the new president of Venezuela. So that was a period of this attempt to establish a parallel government, which was related to different actions. In 2020, like paramilitary incursions in Venezuela. They were like a group of different mercenaries that was captured by the Venezuelan military forces that were trying to intrude in Venezuela in 2020 at the very first beginning of the year. Also in 2018, there was an attempt of killing Maduro in a public activity. It was a military activity where it was prepared that some drones with bombs blow, and they could kill the whole leadership of Bolivarian revolution. Fortunately, it was repelled, that attack. The drones weren't able to go to the place where Maduro were, but it was very close. So that was a public situation. And then also in the beginning of the 2019, there was this pressure in order to enter to Venezuela with what they call like humanity aid, but actually it was demonstrated that were like a convoys with guns and with different people that was trained from Colombia in order to attack, enter violently from Colombia border. So that's some kind of little background of the different moments of the aggression in the past years. And then we go to these last attacks. This escalate is the most important that we have had so far. Actually, is the most important that we had in this century. Since these statements that I mentioned in the recent August, it started a process of mobilization of different Navy ships from the US. At this moment, we have in the Venezuelan border in the Caribbean Sea, we have 8 different Navy ships from the US military force. Publicly, so far we know, these different 8 Navy ships have a capacity accumulated between the 8 of them of 1,200 missile launching that can be like, like water to land or water to water, that could reach any target in Venezuela territory, because they are in the Caribbean. Also, the last week, the U.S. government has announced the reinstating an important military base in Puerto Rico in order to have aerial support, and they have been mobilizing different military airplanes to this base in order to have the possibility to mobilize those military airplanes into Venezuela if it was necessary. Oh, and one of the Navy ships that has been mobilized into the Caribbean Sea, it's a submarine which is a nuclear power submarine. So that's basically, I mean, the fact situation. What has been happening in the last weeks is that we have seen Trump making these press conferences where he has shown some weird images, some footage, video footage of some bombings into little ships like for fishermen. He publicly has announced the bombing of three different little ships in the fishermen ships in the Caribbean. He has showed this footage, but that footage doesn't refer exactly where have happened, who was the person that they have bombed there, but they publicly have has basically said that they have murdered different fishermen of people in these navies. From the Venezuelan government, it hasn't been possible to identify to who belong these ships, who was there. It's impossible to know what's that. So from that point of view, the what we have seen from the public, the political organizations, but also from the government, is that we are facing like an hybrid situation right now. People from different countries call us and said, well, what's going on? Are you being attacked? What's happening? So it's a complicated situation because actually we could be attacked any moment. That's an imminent threat that's actually going on. We have when you have eight military navy ships in your border, of course you can be attacked at any moment. And when you have Trump at the head of this imperialist government, of course it could happen anytime. But at the same time, what we have seen is that we are in a phase of psychological warfare against Venezuela. And not only Venezuela, it's like international operation because when you see the social networks during the last weeks, you can be basically convinced that there is starting a process of attack into Venezuela from the US. Maybe when you see the social networks, you can say that they are attacking a drug cartel in Venezuela. The new speech, I mean the new narration guideline that you have from the United States, Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, so far they call that this is an illegal government regime. But in the last weeks, he has said it's not longer an illegal regime. It's just a terrorist narco trafficking organization, a criminal organization, basically. So that's very dangerous because this classification opened the possibility for the United States to violate any international laws. Of course, that's not a big issue because they have done it in any different military campaign that they have promoted in this century. So it's not a big issue, but it's important because it's about the possibility that they have in order to mobilize resources to attack Venezuela.